Hey there, KevKild here. Going over a very detailed guide for the perk deck in Payday 2 CrewChief. And no, I don't have a fancy intro just to make it all spicy and exciting because people overlook this perk deck as a newbie perk deck, so we're just gonna jump straight into it. The whole base of CrewChief is to make your team more tanky, and making everybody tanky with more HP, more armor, damage reduction. This means less downs for you and your team. The better perk decks in Payday 2 are typically health-based. Examples such as Kingpin, Stoic, and CrewChief is also a health-based perk deck as well. So the more bullets you can tank out in the open, just in case you need to make your shots, or if you need to go from point A to point B, you typically tend to live longer. You know, if you keep your HP up in any video game, you tend to survive longer. Ain't that ironic? I just wanted to shed some light on this perk deck as a lot of people tend to see it. They don't really see any advantages of it. I know Overkill's description are very out of date, not really communicated well. Some of them are just too jarring to understand, and you don't see the full statistics on numbers. So I just wanted to give some heads up and shed some light and maybe open up some eyes of how strong and great this perk deck really is. There's a lot of math involved in Payday 2. This involves weapon breakpoints such as 128 for light units, 255 or 256 rounded up for heavy units, and armor breakpoint values. So you can make sure to tank a 225 hit from a Zeal, and does your HP have enough? Does your armor have enough? How are you going to play with those damage values? And since CrewChief has a lot of math involved, these numbers change very drastically once a CrewChief is in the party. In one of my other videos that I had, I briefly went over just to kind of give some heads up information, and that was during my 2K sub video, so thank you again to all the subscribers, by the way. So this video is going to go over why CrewChief is so freaking good. Another individual by the name of JC, he created a very comprehensive deck for CrewChief on one of his Steam guides, and this involves a lot of math again, such as breakpoint values, how much HP and armor, and helping the other teammates in your party. With various perk decks that are in the game, CrewChief can really change how much armor and HP every player has, and this will change the breakpoints for enemy units, especially on death sentence, making this perk deck really good. So for myself, I got a lot of example videos not only from my build guide on Steam, but a ton of solo videos that I have been able to pull off with CrewChief. So why would you solo with CrewChief? Well, the biggest thing is it's a health-based perk deck. You can take a lot of hits, and as long as you play relatively slow, time the assaults, do objectives whenever needed, you can handle this perk deck with relative ease. The biggest and most helpful tip I can give is grab jokers. You can definitely do it with a one joker based setup, but it's better to get two to get the full CrewChief benefit. As for this educational video, hopefully it's relatively entertaining. Hopefully you learned something. I know it's a bit on the lengthy side because I'm going over as much as I can and maybe a bit of a quick summary. So those that just need a quick TLDR, CrewChief is overpowered. It's designed to make you and your team tanky, and if you can survive longer out in the open, or just taking care of cops before they take care of you, remember me saying that? Yeah, totally. You can prevent a lot of downs, and maybe even get a no crew down, even on death sentence 1 down difficulty. Other things I'm going over in this video will be explaining the perk deck and all of its cards individually and hopefully providing decent examples, the benefits of other classes, having some builds so you guys can try it out for yourself, and of course, full gameplay video at the end just to kind of showcase, yep, this thing works and it helps the team immensely. If I were to give my opinion on this perk deck, it is definitely within the top 10 of all Payday 2 perk decks for death sentence 1 down difficulty. And if I were to give a specific number, I'd rate it in number 6, where the top 5 is obviously Stoic, Kingpin, Hacker, Anarchist, and Armorer. Like I said, I know the video is a bit lengthy. I try to get as much detail and information that is accurate and helpful. So if I missed anything, feel free to shout me out, or if you got any questions, feel free to bug me, hopefully here on YouTube, or you can come join my Discord or say hi to me on Twitch. Otherwise, I hope you learned something, and let's get to it. So starting off, CrewChief with the absolute perk deck that you start out with. May not be the top 5 best perk decks in the game, but it's definitely within the top 10, in my opinion. So, why do people dislike this perk deck so much? I don't know. Probably because the first perk deck you get is probably the newbie starter perk deck. I don't get it. The math involved with everything that's put under the plate, a lot of things aren't said in this game with lovely, terrible typo descriptions, and since you don't see the full value of numbers, a lot of people drop this perk deck and don't even give a flying. Unfortunately, when you start doing the number crunching, when you start doing the math, and when you start to see stuff, especially with HUD mods, or mods in general, you can start to see the strength of this perk deck and see what other benefits, whatever things it can work with amongst party members in your team to really benefit not only for the crew chief, but for the players as well. So enough rambling. First card is pretty simple. Damage reduction for you and your group. It gets doubled for you if you're under 50% health. That 50% health, when you're half health, it really doesn't matter for the most part because you can still tank a 225 hit. Assuming you have a Joker and all the damage reduction benefits, everything should be put in place. It's not really the biggest strong part of this card. The big strong part is 8% damage reduction for you and your crew. It's already a great starting spot. But yeah, like I said, I don't see much benefits when you're under 50% health. There's really no point. Crew Chief is a health-based perk deck. I would not suggest or even recommend specking into Frenzy or lowering your HP to get more damage. It's dumb. Don't do it. Next card, Marathon Man. More stamina. This is really handy for when you gotta do lots of running heists. Whether that's Heat Street, whether that's Green Bridge on the final part, whether that's Birth of Sky, going from point A to point B, you name it. The stamina helps a crap ton. You know how many times you run them cars on fire in Hotline Miami for the gasolines to pick up from the gas station? Again, the list goes on. Increase your shout distance by 25%. This helps immensely for some of the objectives, including Santa's Workshop. And this will also help for Confident, one of the Joker-based skills for Crew Chief, which should be utilized. So having double Jokers, you can really increase the shout range of Crew Chief. The last part is when you're within medium range of an enemy, you, not the rest of your team, receive 6% less damage from enemies. So, there's a problem with this perk deck, or perk card, whatever. Yes, there's problems with the perk deck. In order for this to be activated, you have to have Underdog, for some weird coding reason. Dr. Newbie has provided a mod in the mod workshop to save yourself a point. So if you want to move this point to, say, drill points, that would be my recommendation if this was fixed. However, strongly recommend you have that. Why? Because overkill programming, lovely descriptions, blah, 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 blah. This goes on. Without Underdog, you're not going to get the 6%. So yes, 6 plus 8. 14 on the HUD, it shows 15 for some weird reason, but when it comes to 1% of 225 damage, when you have so much HP and other damage reduction, which I will go over in just a bit, it's not that huge of a difference. So anyways, next Crew Chief card is for more health. Your crew will gain 10% more health, you gain 20% more health. So, on top of the health you will be getting with Jokers, thanks to Partners in Crime Days, you gain a standard base of 10% more health for your crew and 20% for yourself. Pretty simple. No need to really add on to that. Same thing with armor. I know overkill worded this weird. You gain 10% more armor, your crew gains an additional 5% more armor. So, as the examples I will be showing later, this also means ICTV armor sets that have a base 221 value can surpass the 225 value, allowing you to tank 2 Zeal shots before breaking the armor, which is really handy if you want to save points for Frenzy or Underdog Aced. Last and the best card is Hostage Situation. So any dominated cop, any tied down civvy, or any joker the player owns. This is where this card shines so freaking bright. You and your crew gain 6% max health and 12% stamina up to 4 hostages. So even more health, more stamina. Even though you already got a boatload of stamina to begin with. So anyways, if you have a joker with, you know, after you convert a cop, you have partners in crime days, you get all that HP, that counts as a hostage for that player. If you have a dominated cop in the heist that nobody has taken, that is a hostage for the team. So keep that in mind when you convert a hostage for a joker per se. The other 3 members will lose this bonus. So to counterbalance it, make sure you got tied down civvies, make sure you dominated a cop, or if everybody runs joker skills, everybody gets this hostage situation benefit from Crew Chief. The next part is probably the best part. You gain an additional 8% damage reduction for having one of those hostages. So again, joker skills are really, really good. Having a joker for each party member benefits hostage situation. If they don't have any joker skills, make sure you find a civvy or dominate a cop and make sure they don't get released. Otherwise, they'll never gain this last card benefit. As you can see here, none of these crew perks stack, so 2 CCs just don't even do it. So there it is, 8%. So, when an enemy's targeting me, 15%. If I pull out my calculator to do the damages, it relatively comes close to that number. However, not everything's 100% accurate, regardless. You have a dominated cop or joker in this case, minus 22. So as you can see there, Crew Chief really helps when you have Underdog mixed in with a joker for yours to have, or some sort of tied down civvy, wherever that could be, dominated cop, or simply just grab jokers because jokers are OP. You can really tank a lot. And jokers help kill and create space. So I got lots of examples that are coming up with various perk decks, and why this card shines so good amongst all the other bonuses, such as more armor, more health, and of course, more stamina, and everything else. Before we attach a crew chief to the party, let's just take something simple that you may see in a pub. So I got my health and armor completely zoomed up, maybe bigger than usual, and here we go with a full anarchist party. So you start off with 158 armor and 115 health, and to do a standard Zerk setup, it's pretty simple with the Molotov. Take 5 hits on health, step out for a bit, take another 2, and now you got a great Zerk. So, what will Crew Chief do in this scenario? Starting off from the top, as you can see with the HUD mods, I already have damage reduction. And the red player has Crew Chief equipped. So, off the start, I already have more armor and more HP, and as my team dominates cops inside the building, the HP and armor values also raise, making the Zerking value a little bit different. So this comes very, very tough for players that don't have that HUD mods, or may need a bit more practice, or maybe just let your teammates know, wait a sec before we get too comfortable, and get your proper Berserker amount so you can make your build do the damage you need for those breakpoints. As I said earlier in the video, the more dominated cops, the more tied down civvies you have. This affects everybody in the party. With the HUD mod that I have with Void UI, it does take a little bit to refresh if you take a hit, which I'll demonstrate a little bit later, or if you just farm up armor with a Joker and shoot them a bit of times the way Anarchist works, you can see that I get a much bigger value than what I had from the very start, ending up with 351 armor, and that's with suit. Almost just as good as ICTV, and with a 2-second regenerative timer, making Anarchist with CrewChief very strong. I know this is full value with the most amount of hostages for hostage situation, but even just having one Joker with an Anarchist player using Partners in Crime days, these health and armor bonuses, the way Anarchist applies them, more HP, the more armor gets converted, it definitely goes to show how big it can get. You can make Anarchist builds without using the Berserker skill. This could use more crits in your damage builds, or you could provide ammo bags for Krinkovs or an LMG, that sort of thing. So if you don't want to perform a Berserker-based setup with Anarchist, this is how big the HP and armor values become when you get a Joker and max out that hostage situation with the stacks provided from CrewChief. So with a Joker right now and 2 tied down civvies, we have quite a bit of armor and health. But let's stretch it with one more tied down civvy, and what do we get? Once the HUD refreshes, I should have 351 armor, which didn't update for some weird reason, 262 HP. As I take care of the civvies, or if they get released, or if they accidentally die, you can see that hostage situation definitely provides a lot of bonuses, so be careful where you shoot, or just hide them, or just play with 2 Jokers, or have 1 tied down civvy, or 1 Joker. Make what works best for you. The biggest benefit for Anarchist is again, having that Joker because of the 30% HP increase, and as I removed the Joker that I had, I tremendously dropped my HP and armor. From 299 armor and 221 HP, all the way down back to 195 armor and 138 HP with the CrewChief in the party. So as you can see, these values for health and armor change very, very frequently, and it could be random when your teammates dominate cops or tie down civvies. So if you decide to go back to the Berserker method, if you try to lower your HP, it can be really hard and it can be frustrating where you just want to reset. Now off of Anarchist and onto Kingpin. Kingpin is a health-based perk deck where I would suggest getting a Joker too, because from 414 base HP, get a Joker, now you have enough HP to take 2 Zeal heavy hits. However, what happens if we introduce a CrewChief in the party? Well, now you can tank Green Dozer because our HP values go significantly higher, especially with a Joker, Partners in Crime days, all the HP adding stuff. We're now left with 520 health with just even 1 Joker because of that 1 stack and everything else added. As I continue to damage boost myself, you can see that the HP values continue to go even higher with Kingpin and CrewChief. Now that we have a Joker and a civvy, that's basically 2 stacks, and we're left with 534 HP for Kingpin. So now that we have ourselves 2 Jokers, which I'm gonna convert here pretty quickly, and 2 tied down civvies, our HP value goes to maximum 561 for Kingpin. So that is absolutely huge. Again, more health means the longer you get to live. And if I remove those civvies, we're back down to 534 because 2 Jokers is the equivalent of 2 stacks. All that HP sounds good, right? Well, don't forget about our damage reduction. That means more effective health for whatever perk you're playing. Next example I have is Sicario, which is a base perk deck for a lot of the decks in game, which has 20 armor for suit and 230 HP. In this build example, I'll be using the lightweight ballistics vest with diehard aced. This gives me 70 armor as base. So what does this mean for CrewChief when you dominate a cop? Already at the start, you get a bit of a bonus, but like I said, having Partners in Crime days, converting that, Joker, you get 30% HP increase. Just like the other examples, why don't we tie down some more civvies so we can get more stacks from hostage situation? But wait a second, there's 2 Jokers and 2 tied down civvies. Kevin, is that 4 stacks? No. That is 3 stacks for each player because the Joker is owned for the player for that hostage situation stack. As I tie down the 3rd civvy, now both Orange and myself have 4 stacks. And as you see, getting a 5th stack, well, doesn't do anything. And if we remove those civvies again, we're back down to 3 stacks per player. So again, making sure you keep those civvies alive and healthy, or if you hide them away, keep them tight, or just, like I said earlier, if you only want to play with Jokers, Jokers by themselves are already great. Now it's time for a bit of muscle. Remember that armor value I was talking about with ICTV armor? Well, I should have 221 armor. Frankly, that's not the case with CrewChief, because that 5% armor bonus I am getting from red turns that 221 to 229. Now I can tank 2 Zeal heavy units. Also, the benefit of muscle, it's an HP based perk deck as well. So grab a Joker and watch that HP skyrocket. And as I get more civvies and damage boost myself for the final value, with 4 stacks, again 2 tied down civvies, 1 Joker for me, 1 dominated cop, 561 health. And that value stays the same if I convert that last one, but the party lose 1 stack, keep that in mind. So that's a lot of HP and damage reduction as well. And in case your Joker dies, just remember to refresh it or you're going to lose that stack bonus as well. Onto other armor perk decks, we'll take Sociopath as an example. Sociopath is primarily maining on a bit of tank with a bit of armor gate. And with an ICTV setup on Sociopath, you're not going to gain too much benefit from CrewChief, maybe some damage reduction for some breakpoints, but the biggest thing is Sociopath already comes with extra armor from the perk deck to tank 2 Zeal heavy hits if you use ICTV armor. However, the HP does come in handy if you need to do some melee swings in case you lose some health. So it's not a huge benefit per se as to Anarchist, Kingpin, Muscle, or Stoic once we go over that. It can still help a little bit, but it's not a tremendous gain. Other armor decks that fall into this category would be Armor itself and Infiltrator that comes with armor benefits from the deck. If you wanted to spec with ICTV armor with other perk decks, CrewChief definitely helps better there, but hey, nothing's stopping you from free damage reduction and free health, right? Alright, on to the bread and butter of Payday 2 best friends, CrewChief and Stoic. I got 2 examples here, one with a lightweight ballistic setup with Diehard Aced, so I can maintain crits if I wanted to do, say, an assault rifle build or some other build that utilizes crits. So I gotta make sure that I have a lower armor in order to maintain low detection. So in this example, dominating a cop and converting him, I already have quite a bit of HP from that jump. And as we tie down more civvies, you can see how big the health pool becomes with Stoic having a CrewChief in the party. It's ridiculously huge. And keep in mind, we still have that damage reduction. So more armor gets converted into HP, more HP from hostage situation, more HP from partners in crime days, more damage reduction. It's too much! How much is too much? Well, we ain't stopping there. This is overkill after all, so let's make some big numbers. A lot of builds use ICTV armor with Stoic. And from the start, we already have just as much HP after we do all the conversions with the previous Stoic set. Getting a Joker, getting some tied down civvies, we're already nearing that 600 mark with CrewChief. And keep in mind, like I keep saying, we can still get more dominated cops or civvies depending on the map. So a neat little team example would be have one person play CrewChief, have one person play Stoic, both of you having Jokers with Joker skills. You can really create a lot of space by having a lot of tank and sustain potential. Let the Stoic player handle the meat and potatoes of the heist while the CrewChief sits back and helps with whatever's needed. Last but not least is another CrewChief with a CrewChief in the party. And as I said earlier with the perk explanation, CrewChief bonuses do not stack. I know it's a little small to see red's health and armor compared to my armor and health in green, but you can definitely see the differences once CrewChief has a Joker and when you don't. So when I have a Joker, I have that 77 armor with high ballistics vest and 359 health, while my other counterpart for Crew Chief has 276 health. But wait a second, it was just higher. Again, I took care of that cop. That was a benefit for the team because it was dominated, converted it as a Joker. The other Crew Chief loses that bonus. Again, you have to keep your eyes on where you're performing dominated cops or tied down civvies. Or again, just keep it simple, stupid, as, you know, my teachers tell me, if everybody grabs Jokers, everybody gets the benefit, everybody gets a lot of HP and that damage resistance. Now we're both back at 359 health, ready to take on any heist. And yes, it makes Descents a heck of a lot easier, because we can tank 2 Zeal heavy hits before our health goes down. If we grab a second Joker, or tie down more civvies, or max it out, you should have roughly 400 health, a pretty easy number to remember with Crew Chief. So, if you're playing Crew Chief, check to see if you got 4 stacks, 4 with 400 health, you're rocking and rolling, and you're ready to win. So I got a couple of CrewChief builds that I run myself, and stuff that I've been experimenting with, I posted on my build guide, and maybe stuff that yourself or have seen other people have ran. For the most part, CrewChief is pretty simple to build. You want to pack Jokers, you want to have some health, and away you go. DPS is a little bit short-sighted as it's the best support-based perk deck in the game. You can either tank with it, because with ICTV armor you can take 2 hits before your HP starts to deplete, or you can go the sustain route with HP, because with a Joker you can take up to 225 hits and still live, assuming you did everything else right, which I'm gonna go over. So, how should I build with Crew Chief? Simply put, it's, in my eyes, a health-based perk deck. If you spec for Frenzy, you're probably limiting the perk deck's potential. Try not to put too much DPS skills, such as all the crits, all the berserker stuff. You don't need too much. As for the builds I normally run, I got all of that pretty much well comfortably from when I've been playing this game for quite some time. And the one build I have highlighted here is my sniper setup for Crew Chief. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of points because I want to maintain team skills. I want to maintain, you know, a little bit of DPS for myself and have all that sustained to keep myself afloat and give myself and the team a lot of space. Using the R700 sniper rifle or the Rattlesnake, modded as follows. The key about the 255 snipers is the damage breakpoint. Having the damage above 255 so I can one-shot them in the head. This will kill them in one go. If you attach a silencer to one of these, it'll drop the damage below the 255 breakpoint, so that requires 2 shots, making the sniper, well, not so great. It could work past the 18 or 20 meter range damage drop-off fall-off system that I wish Overkill never implemented in the first place, so don't even attach a silencer, keep it loud and keep it good. Otherwise, I have it modded as follows for as much stability and accuracy close to the 100 mark. In case of dozer, if I need some ammo or if my aim is really bad, pack a Krinkov or a I can't even English, CR805 SMG. This is your dozer melter or whatever else needs to come along your way, or if you just need ammo, etc. It's a great backup SMG, because snipers can also pierce shields. Keep that in mind. Now, I don't have an ICTV armor setup, so we're going to be pushing towards a more sustained HP setup. Using a heavy ballistics vest and first aid kits. With the heavy ballistics vest, I overcome the 70 armor breakpoint. This allows me to tank a shield and get ready for a heavy unit to hit me in case, you know, if people know what the term grace is, it saves you a lot of times. That's why 70 is mentioned for an armor breakpoint. With Crew Chief's armor benefit gain, I get a little bit more than 70, making the deck even more tanky than what it should be. So if a light hits me, a shield hits me, then I have just a little bit armor for another one, or a Zeal Heavy that does 225 damage, which is very handy. Flashbangs to help CC or clear the area, in case anything goes wrong. A kind of a quick Inspire setup. I know I don't have painkillers for Inspire Ace, but with a sniper and a couple of flashbangs, I can help clear the area and create space before I hit that F button. I don't like to rush inspiring people with this kind of a setup. I don't recommend it, so take it nice and slow and you'll be there. To help create space for me and my team, and keep myself sustained and afloat, making sure I have 2 jokers good to go. These things will help deflect a lot of enemy attention, and of course Partners in Crime Days will give you a 30% health increase. This 30% amongst all the crew chief damage reductions plus the bonuses allows you to take 225 Zeal shots before going down again on the 3rd. And with first aid kits, you can maintain yourself really tanky, or sustain, however you want to call it. I don't really call it a tank setup because we don't have great armor. Hostage taker just to keep points flowing into our HP, in case we don't need a first aid kit. Standard gray setup for 255 snipers, not going to go full detail into that. Underdog's pretty much required because of Marathon Man, so I do recommend having it. Bullseye, as a lot of builds, nearly all of them should have. Don't have enough points for drill skills. Duck and cover to keep myself running and gunning, or to another objective, to be honest. Optical illusions for the jokers. High value target unseen strike. Really good combo for melting dozers, as well as pinging special targets from super far away. Standard 9 live setup. But this is my go-to sniper setup for a lot of pub-based games. I do like it because it creates a lot of space, and snipers are ridiculously overpowered in the hands of somebody who can aim relatively well. For a better crew chief setup, I recommend going a more tankier setup with an ICTV armor setup. I still recommend first aid kits because they pack a lot of health healing potential with how much tanking and sustain crew chief can have. Like I said before, you can tank up to 225 Zeal shots and still have some HP left. Heal up with a first aid kit, you're good to go. With ICTV armor, as you can see here, we can surpass the 225 breakpoint. We could take 2 Zeal heavy hits. So with high detection and heavy armor, I recommend an LMG setup. Going for as much stability and accuracy as we can. As for backup, or in case we need to take out a sniper, like the Krinkov SMG. Or just in case we need to have a little bit extra time, in case we don't have enough time to reload. However, with the costly point of this setup, I don't have Inspire. This will force us to clear the area in case somebody does go down, or we use the flashbangs accordingly. Double jokers again, this is pretty much bread and butter for all CrewChief builds, and I forgot to mention, with Confident, your shouting range is also increased by 50%. So, just like before, with Marathon Man, your shout range is increased, this stacks with it. So you can really shout things super far. Stable shot for the LMG. ICTV setup, Underdog again, as I mentioned before. Surefire aced. Just to, in case you hit some body shots, I don't recommend body expertise because of the damage range fall off. Should be aiming for heads anyways, trying to save that ammo, not to be spraying and praying all over the place. Parkour for CTV, ICTV setups. OI for the jokers, create space and deflect enemy attention, and having all the DPS needed for the LMG. And of course 9 lives. So it may not be a full Inspire build as I would have, but this is a great start for those getting into Crew Chief, taking it slow, and getting jokers, making space, supporting your team. For those that want to do damage, I recommend why not just pack a pair of shotguns. Using a lightweight ballistic setup, we can maintain crits with a lower detection risk setup. 55 armor does work with the damage reductions Crew Chief has to offer in case you take a light or a shield hit. You still have a bit of armor to take another one, or Zeal heavy, whatever comes around the corner. So using the Akimbo Goliath setups, the best shotguns in the game, have them modded as follows. That's to say if I want to do mad DPS or if I just want to have fun with shotguns. Which I haven't played in a while. Still having flashbangs but using medic bags. Using painkillers with Inspire Ace, because with Quick Fix, I don't have, per se with my other build, I don't have that painkillers Ace for Inspire. So clear the area beforehand. But if you're in a pinch, this is a little bit easier for you and your teammates. Maintaining the double joker setup with hostage taker. Simple shotgun skills, probably not the most optimal, because you can hit certain breakpoints with Goliath with shotgun impact ace, but we're trying to maintain a lot of points for our team. Standard bullseye like usual, drill skills, crit setup, Akimbo for ammo, and again, standard 9 lives. So there's just 3 basic builds for CrewChief. One for crit setup if you want to mix it with assault rifles, which I've shown in other previous build videos. My favorite sniper setup, go-to for creating space and doing lots of damage and support. And like I said, please be careful with the Inspire setup if you don't have painkillers. You have flashbangs, use those accordingly. And if you want to take it really nice and slow, I have my pretty fun favorite tanky setup. We're not using Inspire, so if you want to challenge yourself and try to do manual res and be really tanky and still deliver a lot of DPS, an LMG setup. As a bonus, I've been kind of testing this build, and I don't know if I want to make it public. Something with the Akimbos. For those that are up to date with their DLCs, the AK Gen 21s. These are a new SMG type that have different damage values compared to the other SMGs out there. These got recently buffed, with more ammo to their pool. I have them modded as follows. Packing with a AP pistol, just in case I need to hit shields. Or if I just need a bit of extra ammo. Also, it hits that 128 breakpoint, which is another key number you might need to remember. Lightweight ballistics, first aid kits. And the build as follows. With this, I could be a bit more aggressive because I got still inspired, double jokers. This is pretty much your standard for CrewChief. Underdog again, keeping that bullseye. Similar to the LMG setup, we got Surefire Aced. Lots of crit potential. Akimbo for ammo and standard 9 lives. So if you want to have some fun, similar to some of my pistol builds I've done in the past, but these are pretty good. Just be soft on the triggers and feel free to melt dozers in the face. So that just goes over some of the CrewChief builds I would recommend to start trying CrewChief. If you're still curious on CrewChief builds, I do have some on my Steam guide, which I have at the very top, as well as the Marathon Man, why you need Underdog in order for the last bit of the card to work. I did some math, making sure that things are all right. Do have example videos of CrewChief, as well as all the other CrewChief builds I've ran in the past, such as the CrewChief DPS and the CrewChief Sniper I showed earlier. So if you want to give these a try, feel free. Join my lobby? Maybe that's a good idea, because I couldn't find anybody. Like, what is this fucking shit, dude? Don't shoot me. Ammo. Where are they moving? I'm out. How fast are these guys ducking? Is my Inspire not working or some shit? What kind of assault wave modifiers? I don't know. Same thing Payday 2 and Payday the Heist have. Those will work just fine. They call them difficulty or whatever? Or differential value? DIFF? Seems to work just fine. Like, holy shit, they are fast. Also camping. I'm throwing a flashbang for you guys. Hopefully that'll slow everything down. That didn't kill you? You guys aren't killing. That's the problem. You guys actually aren't killing. No space being made. I fucking love Crew Chief. Confident ace. It's so strong. But yeah, basically what the whole assault thing should be, it's a little bit more balanced, because some heists just are really slow off to start. Like take Art Gallery or Golden Grin, it's just so slow. Then you move to Henry's Rock, it's like Henry's Rock is really fast. All that shit just needs to be balanced. Spawn points need to be fixed. You shouldn't be on like max wave instantly. That's just my 2 bits. Can I have my Joker? All these misses. Jesus! Kev, you can do this. You got this. Like, I feel my cloakers are just really derpy and everything else is accurate. Leave it at that. Take that minus 10. Oh my god. I'm getting inside. Visors off. So you guys good with objective? Now you are. There should be 2 here and 2 in there. Most optimal. I gotta place another first aid kit here just in case I double. Get rid of you. Get your visor off. Get rid of you. Then we get rid of the rest. Still waiting for that drill. Thank you. Good job, guys. Somebody needs meds before they go in custody. That was a good no scope. All right. Whoa! Nice shot. If I had 100 accuracy, he would have died. But I don't have 100 accuracy while standing still. I hit him. I saw that dot click. Also, if you guys tie these things down, you get bonuses. Just tie 2 and everybody wins. We all have 2 jokers. This is kind of silly. Very silly. Look at this kill distribution. I know everything's doubled, but like, how does one guy have 14 kills with a Kingpin GL? Did Overkill nerf it that bad? I don't think they did. Did they? Crazy. Lock on code. Well, at least the laggy games made up for shitty aim. I'm telling you, this AI is just incredibly fucking random. Nobody believes me. All the ducking and shit. They're retreating. Okay, should be good. My sniper spot. I hear medic. Do you have mods for the AI? Of course not. I do not. I used to, but I don't need them. One, because people join me, and two, that is how you save yourself from grace death. And people just join me, like, another thing too is that better bots, when I used to use better bots, like when I was really shit, I realized, yeah, I kept them at default. But like, it's still, they felt still pretty good. And then I just got better at the game and I was like, I don't even need better bots anymore. Okay. Okay, who wants to get picked up? Okay, it's Ram. Picked up Ram. But yeah, I used to be really garbage at the game. Like that. Then again, they shouldn't have spawned in like that, in my opinion. I checked, it was clear. Can I eat this first aid kit, please? Thank you. Ah, I'm missing. Yeah, I guess I stay here. Visor? Visor's off. I'll admit, I got pretty lucky there, not gonna lie. I could have ended pretty bad. Optical illusions kicked in. I was like, hey, this person's got jokers. Ah. Who is honestly making space? I see a commando. Person with commando has made the most amount of space. .80 fucking accuracy. That was damn good. No downs too. Was hoping for no crew down, but these guys are not making kills. These guys are not making any fucking kills. Yeah, I guess that's why. They're a bit low level. Guess that's fair. I think Spikes is doing a weird build, but like, holy shit. Yep, that was a long and crazy and hopefully entertaining ride for you guys. I tried to put as much information as I could, especially with how given complex Payday 2 is, how crazy some of the math and numbers are involved with CrewChief, and the insane benefits not only the CrewChief player gets, but everybody else on the team. So, I don't want to say don't look at this as a newbie terrible perk deck. It actually provides a lot of great benefits for everybody around you. You can definitely play CrewChief with multiple build sets, multiple play styles, and perform relatively well, and I do it all the time on Descent's difficulty. I don't know what else to really add. It's a fun, great perk deck, it's pretty simple to use, and I have a lot of fun with it, and I hope you guys do as well. But, as like anything else, if you got questions, if you need help with something, feel free to shout me out. I'm open arms to give you guys better build advice, or if it's just playstyle, send me a clip or whatever. Feel free to check out the guide I mentioned earlier, and if you got any questions about my CrewChief builds, or if you think you can make them better, again, feel free to hit me up. I'm open to CNC, criticize, critique, that sort of thing. Anyways, enough rambling. Thank you all for watching. Definitely a long one, and until then, I'll see you next time.